Community Beacon, Fridays at 6:30 EST, with your hosts Michaeldseville and Joel Simmons. A channel whose focus is liberty. A place where the lessons discussed and taught will create openings to a more open and freer mindset. A mindset where you may reach the height of your potential and excel. Here are your hosts, Mike and Joel.
What is going on? What is going on, people? How you doing over there, brother?
All is well, man. All is well, Feeling good. Glad to see you. Adjust my camera a little bit. Yep, there it is, man. Good to see you one more time. We're live, brother.
Absolutely. You're hard to get in contact with these days, man. You're real busy.
Oh man, you know what? There's an old saying. It's really short. It goes like this: takes one to know one.
Get it in, guys. Welcome to Community Beacon. If you're watching this, it's live. It's Friday. It's right around 6:30. We appreciate you all checking in. I'm gonna get this up for you to show you what exactly you can do in regards to our housekeeping. There you go. Like, share, comment, and go ahead and hit the notification button. Why not? Every time we check in, we want you all to check in with us, and at least you'll know then. You can't say you forgot this time. You just check in when it pops up on your phone. All these notifications popping up on your phones. Let us be one of them as well. Also, Mondays, what it takes. Every Monday.
What it takes.
It's like clockwork. It's like watching the clockwork. It will be there Mondays. Enjoying it. Last week I got pretty passionate about real estate. I definitely have some thoughts about it, and I'm gonna let it be known, especially in regards to real estate. You guys know I'm your real estate guy here in South Florida. I appreciate those who do ask me questions and check in on Monday. What it takes every Monday, exactly what it takes to get this work done. And then, of course, on Wednesdays, we have who? It starts with who, brother?
Starts with me.
Absolutely.
Listen, man, this has been like a great, it starts with me. It's just been absolutely fantastic. I'm just so excited about it. I got an email the other day. I don't know how serious the people were about it, but they sent me an email. They were like, hey, listen, man, we're like watching your stuff. We really enjoy what you got going on. We would love to be able to collaborate. Right. And, like you said, the busier you get, the less frequent you want to deal with different things like that. But if it's real, it's real. And I love to be a part of it. Absolutely. So I just sent them back this message. I'm like, listen, it starts with me, man. That's what it's all about. If you guys really want to talk, then I'd be glad to speak with you. But I went and I looked them up, and I found out whoever the main representative, the face of the organization was. And I was like, but I'll only talk with the owner or these two people. I don't want to talk with nobody else. If y'all can't send me one of them three people, a decision maker, or the two people that are hosting or that you're utilizing as the face of your company, I don't want to talk with anybody else because I really don't have time for that. So here's my phone number. Call or text me direct. If not, then we're good. We're good. I appreciate you looking at my stuff, because that's what it starts with me. That's what it's all about, man. It's all about starting off with yourself and having enough respect for yourself that you want to, you want to go ahead and make some changes, or you want to make some decisions, and you're taking responsibility for those things. So if anybody wants to see what we're talking about, that's what we're talking about. Taking responsibility for your own actions and the benefits of that. The future benefits of the new you being born because you've taken responsibility for yourself.
Oof. I felt that. I felt that. Those were some of the thoughts I had coming into this show was surrounded that. I'm like, I don't know if we want to go there today.
Maybe we do. Maybe we do.
We could definitely talk about accountability and responsibility. I'm all for it. That definitely sounds like a community beacon, guys. And so, of course, as we progress, Community Beacon. We show up every Friday at 6:30. Sometimes we're here. Sometimes we put a show ahead of we pre-record a show. But we aim to put out a show every Friday at 6:30. I want to say we've been doing it almost a year and a half. I don't even know how many episodes we've had, how many Fridays we've put out shows. And one time we did miss, we put it out on Saturday instead of a Friday. Mistakes, you know. But I think we probably missed maybe 1 or 2 Fridays in almost 2 years. So kudos to us. I'm gonna give us a pat on the back. Where's the clapper? I know we have like a clapping icon here somewhere. Let me.
Yeah.
Here we go. I got it. Here we go.
You got it, because I'm about to hit the button.
If you don't clap for yourself, hit the clapper button.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. Wow. Since you brought it up. Since you brought it up, brother, and you brought it up so eloquently, it starts with me. That's the name of the show, right? And it goes far beyond. It wasn't named It Starts With Me just because it seemed like it was cool. It starts with me because that's exactly what it is. So let's talk about it. You mentioned something, and here's something that was interesting is that I posted something about accountability and how you view the world, etc. But let's get into it. You're looking for people who are looking to take responsibility for themselves. That's what you said, and want the benefits. You mentioned the benefits. What kind of benefits is it when we get into accountability and responsibility?
Man, I tell you what, when you take your own life into your own hands, then I'm gonna tell you some of the greatest benefits is you're gonna increase your ego, because a lot of times we're always, there's this thought process, right? Victim versus victor. And I think that's a huge discussion just to talk about victim versus victor. I mean, they both start with this, start with the same thing, victim. Victim and victor, they both have the same underlying thought process, that there is somebody there that is either taking advantage of the situation or has found fault or disadvantage in the situation, but it's somebody there. And the thought process is that any person, any situation, any decision, you can either be victim or victor. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. Like, I love it how Jesus, on one occasion, he said, listen, I send you out as sheep before wolves. This is what's going to happen. When you get out in this world, they're going to hate you. But this, I want you to remember, that before they hated you, they hated me first. And I've already overcome them all. So when I send you out there, just know this, that you already won. The battle is already won. So if we're out there as victims all the time, it's because we haven't gotten this in our mind that we've already won this battle. Maybe today is a difficult day, but it does not mean it's the end of days. Doesn't mean it's all over. So when it comes down to taking responsibility, it's like, what have I done today? What could I have done today? And where do I want to be at the end of my day? And when I start to look at those things, what have I done? What could I have done? Where do I want to be at the end of the days? And I start to take personal responsibility, like little children, like my little son. He get up and his mom get on him. I can't believe you didn't take the trash out. Why didn't you do such and such and such? When I talk with him, I say, hey, listen, if you come home and you take the trash out before anybody could ask you to take the trash out, the minute somebody asks you to take the trash out, you're going to be like, I did it.
It's already done.
It's already done. Now they say, okay. There's nothing else. You defeated the entire conversation. It's over with. You stole the thunder. You took personal responsibility for your life. After you've done that so many times, people will actually start to begin to call you by that. like I don't even have to worry about it because I know so-and-so already did it. They're dependable. Oh, you just got an award, a verbal award that you are dependable. Somebody depends on you. They might not even say it to you, but then you get into a room filled with other people and you're standing there holding the wall up, and somebody starts to ask, well, who are we going to get to do such and such and such? And you know that you would like to be elected to do whatever it is because there's some type of prestige in front of other people. And that one individual, like in this instance, your mother speaking about her son, that one individual says, oh, well, you can depend on so-and-so. You can depend on them because every time I've ever asked them to do something, they had it done before I could even get around to it, before I can even check. This builds your ego, your self-esteem. It's a self-esteem builder, and we have control to build our own self-esteem. So if I'm depressed all the time, maybe it's because I'm living a depressing life. I need to change the way I live by changing the decisions that I make.
I love it. So we're kind of talking about trust. We spoke about trust last week, and just being dependable and things that you are held responsible for. You take accountability for it and having it already done. And here's the rub, because we can be forgetful. Right? Things happen. So say this in the same situation, you forgot. You were in a rush. You had to use the bathroom. Well, it was raining. It was raining the other day, and I was like, hey, that garbage bin ain't. I can't ask Elijah to go get it right now. It's really coming down right now. So things do happen, but when it does happen, here's my rub: is when the thing does happen that you're responsible for, the constant blame of everybody else, everything else, everything that's going on. And I'm gonna tell you what, this begins the habit. You spoke about self-esteem, and you can start building how you feel about yourself at such a young age. And you can really start at any time, but it does take time to build a habit, especially if you don't already have those neurons firing off. So what happens is that, and I think I heard one of my football coaches say something like that to me in regards to, it starts when you're young. Like if you can start building that thought process on, this is how you operate. Now, this is how you operate. This is who you are, essentially. Then people, you could depend on yourself, and people could start to depend upon you, right? But if you can't do these things, depend upon yourself, and you're looking for the scapegoat every time, that also gets noticed. So now you're not. Now here you are, this person who you're going to miss plenty of opportunities because the thought is already there in another person's mind that, oh, this person can't do it, and then you have that thought already imprinted in your mind. This is when you start second guessing yourself. Well, can I do it? Now am I capable of doing it? And one thing just piles on top of the other. I mean, and it's a sad thing to see, because I had a conversation earlier this week with someone, and I guess I have repelled that victim mentality. I'm always the one to ask questions in regards to, can this thing be done differently? You come to me with a situation. I'm like, well, what part do you play in this thing? Like, all these things are happening, and God knows as long as we continue to live, life is going to continue life. And shouts out to Beethoven. Beethoven would say, life just be life. Things are going to continue to happen. What part are you playing in these things that are happening? And the next thing is why are these things always happening to you? A lot of these things is just patterns. Can we recognize the patterns? At one point in time, we used to talk about a lot more than we do now, anyways, about getting a coach, because you can become so far down into this hole as to where you don't even recognize it. This thing is normal to you, and then you start to get around other people where this is normal to them as well. Then you get around some people who hold themselves accountable. I could never come to Joel. I could never go to Beethoven. I can never go to any of these guys and just say these things just keep happening to me. At some point in time, one of them is going to say, well, Mike, let me not say at some point in time. It's going to be immediately. I'm going to have some questions posed to me about the part that I play into it. And either I'm going to be open to hearing it or I'm not going to be open to hearing it. But if you're so deep down into a hole, oftentimes you're not even open to hearing this. So it's interesting, once again, because I said I've started to, I don't know whether I removed myself from these different circles or the circles just got removed from me. Because when you operate at a different level, some people just can't take it. Mm-hmm. So when I'm introduced into it again, I definitely want to start off now with more compassion and giving people grace. But you're not going to be in that. We're not going to be in this space for a long period of time. This is when this is me quickly getting off the phone. Hey, I got to go handle something. This is me, especially after I try to allow you to see the light, whatever it may be, brother. But what do you do in those situations when you're faced with these different things? A person who's in their victimhood.
I mean, that's a lot, man. And you said so many things that I wanted to talk about too. When I'm faced with these different types of scenarios inside of myself, I'm just like programmed myself. Don't get me wrong. I still have bad days. I just know what I need to do to get myself out of the bad days. And it's all about shortening that time period that it takes for me to get from, that plateau to that point I can grow. So from plateau to growth, you got to shorten the time period. And the more you can shorten that time period, the more growth you'll have. And then you'll start to see exponential growth, right? You'll start to grow all the time versus just growing sometimes, depending on the sunlight or the rain, bad days or good days, joys and pains. So, what I do, a few things that I do to kind of like escape that is, one, I listen to my audible books. 2, I read my Bible, or I read an inspirational book, self-development book. 3, I'll watch inspirational videos on like YouTube or something like that. I love for y'all to watch this, and I think that there's a lot of inspiration in this, but this is more like talk about educational things and points of views. But what I'll listen to is stuff that is designed to motivate me. That's what I'll listen to, stuff that's designed to motivate me, where somebody has captured all the motivational cues and lined them up one after another. Like Oprah Winfrey. Oh, man, I watched some good stuff from Oprah. I'm telling you the truth, man. Oprah, I didn't know how much of a genius she was until I watched this stuff by Oprah. And I'm like, this lady she's bad to the bone, y'all. I love her. There's some other people like Eric Thomas and Brian Tracy. I love listening to that. And some of the stuff that I find motivational to other people is no longer motivational, because they're not even speaking motivationally. All they're speaking is, steps and lessons on how to perfect certain different things. And those things inspire me so much that I don't even need like somebody to pump me up and tell me I can do something. It's more about, hey, listen, it's more about, these are the different steps that you want to take, proven methods, etc. And so I'll do those like 3 things. And another one is physical fitness. I'll hit the gym. I'll go pump it out. I'll pump out negativity. I'll pump out depression. I'll pump out drag. I'll pump out being a sluggard. I'll pump that stuff out, and that helps me as well to be able to just like get my mind, boom, firing off, so that I'm able to really like move through these processes, to be able to get where I need to be. So 4 things that we've mentioned before is what I would suggest to anybody else. And we're actually going to talk about this tomorrow at Communicate Now. We're going to be at Barracuda Bay at 11 o'clock. Want everybody to show up, be there. you got to make sure that you sign in and you say you're part of either Tenacity Foundation or Communicate Now, and be there. And so 1 is environment, 2 is people, 3 is words, and then the 4th one is experiences. And so we've talked about those things many times, especially when coaching other people. Those are some of the things that I believe will always help somebody to generate new flow and to get where they need.
Repeat those again, brother. Environment, people.
Yep. Environment, people, words. And then the last one is experiences.
Okay.
You know, so the higher level of positivity and motivation and inspiration and education of any one of those categories, the higher your flow will rise. You know, your chi will rise, your spirit will rise, and you'll find yourself being able to reach levels that you weren't able to go beyond before.
It's a saying that goes, misery loves company. And the opposite is true as well.
So does joy.
Yeah. And so what I found is people is huge. Being around positive minded people and being open to experiencing those different, just being around that energy. It doesn't even have to be a lot of talking going on. It doesn't necessarily have to be, it could just be being in the presence of positive, joyous people would definitely help to change a mood. You spoke on a couple of things, and it starts off with, I think it started off with the awareness. Well, how are you aware? Well, you need to know you. I think one of the best ways of understanding this whole thing is really, really getting into knowing who you are. And when you start to get in those moods, because if you don't know who you are and how you're getting into these moods, a month or 2 months can go by and you just think this is normal. It's almost the equivalent of eating bad. You can eat bad and think it's normal, and all of a sudden you start eating good. You're like, I didn't know I could feel this good. This feels really good. And then you go to a Memorial Day. Be careful, guys, on Memorial Day. You get some good food that you should have once in a while, but then you add into days and weeks and months. Same thing with stress. Same thing with depression. Well, stress is not that bad, but same thing with depression. Same thing with victimhood. It starts off with my mom and my dad did this to me, and then it goes to my teachers had. It's my teachers. I'm really careful to have a conversation with my son in regards to that. Those are your teachers, huh? Your teachers are the reason. And then it goes to my coaches. Coach is the reason why I didn't get to where I wanted to get to. Then it goes to your bosses. Oh, my boss is just, my supervisor is just, I had to do, I don't go to church anymore because this pastor, he did we just keep finding something to blame. But the only common denominator in the entire thing is yourself. It's yourself, because you can find peace and joy and love in any interaction. And if you can do that as much as possible and get into that type of pattern, then you'll start to really take notice. Oh, this environment is not for me. Or how about this? This environment is not for me anymore. These people aren't for me anymore. Now, I don't need to totally just get rid of them, but I do need to watch what my time is like with them. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go because I love these people, but I at this point in time and where I am in life, I got about 20 to 30 minutes before I fall into this. Man, my mentor turned 86. Shouts out to Jim. I went to his birthday party Sunday evening in Pompano out there in Broward. And I can honestly say I've never been around such just happy and joyous people. And it comes off. Like you can just tell. And I'm in there just smiling and laughing. And he's cracking jokes on the microphone, talking about what happened in 1960 and 50 and 40. And it's just a good time. Just everyone just enjoying themselves, having a good time, talking about what it is. And it's not a forced thing. I'm gonna tell you what, people, I don't know about, and I know the brother could tell too, but I can tell. So a lot of the masks that we spoke about 2-3 weeks ago, I can tell off the bat because guess what? I've been there at one point in time. I was around a lot of that stuff, and I was like, well, there has to be something more, and that's what. Then we start to get into, as the brother spoke about earlier, we start to get into the benefits of it. Okay, what's the benefit of it? Because, and it could be scary. I'm gonna talk on this real quick. It can be scary to be the person that you want to be and leave that other person behind because you've known that other person for quite a bit of time. And I'm telling you, someone could just, the brother said one time, brother, all I could do is give it to you. I'm talking about the brother on the other side of this screen. He said, brother, I could just give it to you. And whether you just decide to take it or receive it, well, that's on you. And I think a lot of us, we tend to do that. We tend to give this information. I'm big on giving information if it's asked of me now. So it's like, I can only give it to you because this side is different. You want to talk about real estate? When we talk about real estate and buying and getting into a certain kind of lifestyle, I'm talking about the neighborhood. I'm talking about the people. Like while one side of town is arguing and talking about the police and what the police aren't doing, I love to see the police officers when I'm walking my dog in my neighborhood. I'm always waving at the officer. Officer could pull over and we can have a conversation and I'm not even thinking about none of this stuff. This is just the type. Can you imagine walking around and not necessarily having to hold a chip on your shoulder? But some of us are so used to this chip. We're so used to walking around with this extra weight. If we were to get rid of it, because we get rid of it from time, we may get rid of it from time to time. We may feel like, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm not working. I'm not putting forth an effort. It just feels weird. Yes, and it's gonna feel that way. Because if you've held on to something so long, if you've had this on your heart for so long, it's gonna feel different when you take it off. So now you're walking around and I'm sure you see some people where they just smiling for no reason. What they so cheerful about? Well, I'm telling you what, they started thinking about some other things. They're not thinking about, what's going on things they can't control. I can't control what Elon Musk got going on. I can't control what Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Donald Trump or DeSantis. I can't really control what they're going on. I can put my vote in and leave it at that if that's what I decide to do. But I can definitely do something within my community. I can control my household. Charity starts at home. I can start to bring that love and understanding and joy and peace, and I can have that in my household. And then I can take that joy, that love, and that peace, and I can take it to my neighbor. When was the last time any of you all knocked on your neighbor's door and were just like, listen, man, I appreciate you for being my neighbor. You don't bother me. You're not throwing crazy parties all the time. I'm rested. At halftime, I don't even know you're here. I see you in passing at 6 o'clock in the morning. We wave. Hey, man, I appreciate you for that. Because on another place, some people neighbors is giving them hell right now. Some people neighbors is plotting on them. Some people and they think, and you know this. So I gotta make sure my door's locked a certain kind of way. I don't know if they're gonna be banging on the doors. I don't know if they're gonna be screaming, whatever. No. Right? So it's just like, so what would you do with that lightheartedness? And I'll tell you what I think most of us will do, because I do believe in us and believe in us as people. I believe that we will take this lightheartedness, this joy, and this peace, and we will continue to pass it on and attempt to bring peace to other people. Simple stuff. I get cut off in traffic now. I'm not even paying attention. Had a whole conversation today on the Zoom. We were talking about someone bumping into a car. And they were saying, and I joked on it because she was like, yeah, I felt good because I gave it back to him. And I said, I hear you. I said, so that was like a thought out spite. You got off your energy by working on your spite. I said, what happens when you just tell that person, you know what, it's not no real damage. You just go on about your, but I hope your day gets better, because you don't have that. You're not holding on to this chip or this thing on your heart. Now you can start passing around, and not only can you start passing it around, but when you start to, when you take that thing off of your heart, you start to receive. Now you're receiving the littlest things. That when your kids is giggling, you start to receive that giggle. Your heart start to get lighthearted. I know when I see my baby boy, when he starts giggling, it means the world to me, right? When I'm passing someone and they just give you a simple hello or they hold a door for you, it means more to you. You're not thinking, you're not carrying that chip. Oh, this person just they just want to be this. They're self. No, it's like you want to receive, and while you're receiving, you're giving, and that's the energy exchange that we can all have. But at first, it starts off with, let's audit ourselves. Let's audit our emotions. Let's audit our being, our well-being. Let's start to audit those different things, and then we see where we're going wrong. Oh man, it's a bad day. I had a bad day on today. Is what, Friday? I think it was Wednesday. I knew it. I let the people in my circle know it. I said, man, I don't know. I think I might be coming down with something in my throat. I'm a little low energy today. And I said, but I knew what it was. And so it goes back to what you were saying, brother. Now I can get that pattern interrupt. Mike, you need to go take an extra walk today. You need to go get grounded today. You need to pick up. You need to go have that talk with God today. You need to meditate a little bit longer today. What were some of the things I like breath work. I'm huge on breath work. And sometimes that's all it takes is a really deep breath. And you know what else? I remember you talked about it, and I do it from time to time, and you all don't laugh at me, but that good old scream in the car or something.
Oh yeah.
That good old scream in the car to jolt you out of that, to give you a pattern interrupt.
Yeah,
I'm for it, brother. I know I'm going on. What's going on?
No, man, you're hitting all the nails, right on the head, man. I like what you had said in the very beginning. Just soon as you opened up, you started talking about the common denominator. Yeah. And I was like, whew, that's it right there. That's the and this is the crazy part about the common denominator. We learn about this, and we learn about this in grade school, and math and everything. It's like, what's the common denominator? And you're going through all these numbers trying to figure out, well, what is the denominator that makes everything else work, that is divisible by everything else? What is the one number that can enter into every single group, every single category, and be found there working? And it's like, when you started mentioning all those different groups and all those different people, and you said the common denominator, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. If you got the number 12 and you're looking for a common denominator, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. But you break it down to just like having one goes in at 12 times 2, whatever. But you get these certain things that are there every single time. But if you take what is the number that was in the group of 12, and you say, well, what's the number that's in the group of 8? And now you're down to 1, 2, 1, 2, 4. All of a sudden, you got to take somebody just got booted. 3 and 6 are gone. But you know what? 1, 2, and 4 are still there. You know what I mean? No matter what. And then you break it down a little bit lower. You're like, okay, well, what about what are the common denominators in 4? You're like, well, they're just 1 and 2. Oh, okay. All right. And then you say, well, if I break it down, what's the common denominator in 2? Well, there's just 1 left. It's either me or you. But I've been in all of them. So maybe both of us.
Well, that's telltale, right? Like that reduction is telltale. It might be both of us. What are we gonna do about it?
Right. Right. And that's this whole thing about all this accountability, self-accountability is like, when I get to the point, or when I got to the point, I'm going to say when I got to the point, y'all. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say when I get to it right now. And this is just me taking a stand with who I've developed to, because I got to this point. How I respond with this knowledge, it can be different from day to day as I'm a work in progress. But I definitely know what's happening when it's happening with me for the most part, 90% of the time. And it's just like, when I got to the point where I understood that I am the common denominator in every single relationship, whether it's good or bad, I began to realize that I am part of the solution of whether it's good or bad. I got to own up to it. It's my responsibility on if this relationship with whatever it is, the relationship with my car, will it be clean? Will it have fuel in it? Will it have an oil change?
Yep.
I'm the common denominator. Other people may get into my car, but I'm in it all the time. I'm the common denominator. My house, same thing. Will it be clean? Will it be locked up? Will the windows be shut or will it be open? Common denominator. With my wife, I'm the common denominator. Are we going to have an argument or are we going to laugh? I'm part of that. Yep. With my children, I'm part of that. With my job, am I going to be satisfied? Will we produce something while I'm at work? I can blame everybody else for non-production, but I got 2 hands and 2 feet. So unless somebody ties me up and puts me in the closet, puts a gag over my mouth, that means at some given point in time, I have the ability to do work. I'm the common denominator. Whether I like it or not, it's still going to fall on me. And that's what that whole thing, it starts with me, is all about. It's like, am I willing to take responsibility for the choices that I make inside of my life and no longer live the life of a victim saying, oh, because she spoke to me a certain way, I can't do it anymore. I'm so upset. I'm going to my room. What you gonna do there? You just end all your life right there. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna put myself in a box. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm so upset. I'm gonna punish myself and separate myself from the world. And this is why this is part of the reason I believe why a lot of children, a lot of young people are so depressed, because they put themselves in this box and then they enter into that this world of imagination. But it's not the same thing that I came up with when I was growing up. Because when I went into my world of imagination, I was still outside. I was still exploring the world. Now the world of imagination can be behind a screen. And it's not even your world. You don't even have control over it. You got control over the remote, but you don't have control over what you see, what you hear. And all those things affect who you are. What you say about that, man?
I'm a firm believer in we dictate the results that we have. I think when we start to talk about and we take accountability and responsibility for whatever it is, I really don't listen. You can go into your room if that's where you want to be. The results that you get from continue going into your room now, like, you got to hold yourself responsible and accountable for that. If you did allow some in your mind for someone to quote unquote get you out of your character, or get you off your square, actually, your character is actually exactly what you did. No, they didn't take you out of your character. It was exactly what you did. So take some responsibility for that. Your character was revealed. How about that? How about our character is always being revealed? And that doesn't go to say that we didn't make a mistake, or we can learn from these things. We can learn. We can start to strengthen our character if we don't like these things.
Man, somebody needs to listen to what you just said right there.
I hope. Listen,
somebody need to hear that.
Man, I could just give it to you. I'm going to tell you what happens when you take accountability and responsibility, because it sounds like because the way that we say these words, and it can be taught. It seems as if we're saying you're taking on a load of something. But when in actuality, what you're doing is you're freeing yourself. You're freeing yourself to be exactly what it is that you want to be, and you're allowed to make the adjustment. But years of non-accountability, years of non-responsibility, it sets you back, and it's hard to get those things in motion, like we spoke about before. Take take responsibility for your actions, take accountability for your character, or don't, right? These are the results you're going to get. But you're also going to start to attract those same things and people that are around you. And that's what that's what I got to say about that. I think I used to be very frustrated at certain things. I'm a person, and I kind of been this way for a while, where I'm like, the buck stops here. I've taken a lot of bucks because of that. I've taken a lot of, but it's freeing. It's freeing. Just yesterday, I had a prospect who said, "Oh man, I could have did this yesterday." I said, "Listen, my apologies. I had the wrong information." And guess what? I gave you the information. So regardless of if it was the wrong information, and there's no way that we could have known that this was going on, because this was given to me by somebody else. It also came out my mouth. So I'm also responsible for it coming out my mouth. Like, I'm not, it is what it is. So instead of us going back and forth and saying such, and listen, you may take some losses with these different things, these things happen. But what it does is, for me, is it builds character. It's a lesson learned. Okay, let me do a little bit now from this point in time. Instead of me just taking a person who's in charge at their word, I can dig a little bit deeper. Okay, now, or actually I just learned something. So the next person that I'm putting in this property or in this area, I'll know. Listen, that's not what happens. This is what we need to do. We need to go down this route. You know what I mean? This is going to save you a lot more money. This is how you start to build your expertise in things. Like, expertise is the reason how expertise is built is from you learning from somebody else and learning from your own mistakes. Any of the best people at whatever it is that they do, they made mistakes. Elon Musk is at the top of the top. Elon Musk makes mistakes, and that's why he is where he is. $billion mistakes. He's made billions of dollar mistakes, but he's learned, and he started to move on. That's how you start. That's how you can start to look at these different experiences. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not, oh, this person had me doing this and it is their fault. Nah, you can be a little dejected. I wish I would have been able to say this time, but now I know. Now I know, and I can move on from it if I learn from it. But if you blame it on somebody else, I can guarantee you're gonna hit that mistake again. It's bound to repeat itself.
Absolutely. You can't get around it. You can't get around it because you don't even believe it was you. That's why you got to see it again. You got to feel it again. You don't even think it was you. You think it was somebody else the whole time.
I almost got into a discussion about, I had heard someone about their divorces. The person had been married 3 or 4 times, and it's always the spouse's fault. How about you didn't pick them right? How about that?
Or maybe, or maybe what if you did pick somebody good, but you didn't treat them right?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. There's so many different probabilities. There's so many different probabilities, and that is, man, right there. That's one of those things that I think about. I think about that. It's like, it's so much easier to say that this doesn't work because.
Absolutely.
And what does it take to say this can work if I, And I mean, just like changing that phrase, like, if I do what do I need to do to make this work? And I mean, number one, I'm going to say communication is absolutely imperative. You know what I mean? And like, mask down. It's like, you got to communicate the communication. And what does that mean? Joe, what is communicate the communication? What does that mean? That means sometimes you have to break it down to the point where you are telling somebody that you are communicating because you don't know how to communicate, and you are lost in this thing of communication, and you are attempting to find how to reach them. Like, you got to go so deep as to say something like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I just know that I love you, but I don't know how to talk with you. I feel as if I'm making the wrong moves. I want to make the right moves. I'm listening to hear what you're saying, but I think that I'm hearing it all wrong. I'm trying to figure this thing out. If we could have some kind of talk where you Please help me to help myself to understand exactly what's going on here. Right. I mean, and it's going to be messy. It's messy. Like trying to come up with the right words, it just don't work that way. Sometimes, listen, you could fall into a ditch or you could fall into a bed. You know, the bed is much more comfortable. You know what I mean? But you got to put yourself in a position where you are there in that place. You could fall, or maybe I should say a couch, because I don't want the wrong connotation to go about. But you can fall onto a couch just like you can fall into a ditch. But if you're wandering around the wilderness, you have no idea where you are. It's pitch black dark. You're in the middle of the woods, and you're trying to find your way. You know, you're gonna fall into a ditch. You're gonna fall into a trap. You're gonna fall into something. But the minute you begin to open your mouth and communicate, it's like turning the lights on inside of the environment. And you can find yourself inside of a living room where you are sitting down on a couch and you're actually hashing things out in a more positive way. And it doesn't mean that somebody's not going to yell or somebody, you know, it doesn't mean that that's not going to happen. It just means that you use words and actually talk about the things that, I hate to say it, but the way that thing makes you feel. You're just like, dude, I feel like, you know, this is going on, that's going on. I just don't understand it. Whatever it is, you gotta lay it out. It's messy. Relationships are messy sometimes. It's just messy. There's no easy way around it. But if you decide to deal with it, man, you can make things happen. And if you don't wait until temperatures are rising, until people are hot-headed. I tell people come to me and they ask all the time, well, so-and-so, like someone asked me a question. It's like, my lady there, she won't have sex with me anymore. You know, that's what it was. He wanted to know how he could make this happen, you know? And the thing is, like, he tap her in the middle of the night. His wife tap her in the middle of the night, you know, and he's trying to figure out why she's always pulling away. This is the wrong time to have that conversation. 12 o'clock at night, when you're ready to have sex with your lady and she doesn't want to turn over to have sex with you, it's the wrong time to have an all-out conversation about your sex life. A better time is when spirits are high, everybody's kind of in a good mood, and you pull them to the side, like, hey, listen, you know, I really want to talk with you about something. It's been bothering me. And I need to get some clarity. And then you open it up slowly, because you're going to have a much easier opportunity of having a real heart-to-heart conversation when people are in a good mood. Children learn this. If a parent comes in and they storming, they're not going to ask you if they can play the video game or if they can go outside. They're not dumb. They're like, I'm not getting anything right now. Matter of fact, let me go to my room.
Get ahead of this.
Yeah, but when the parents are laughing and joking, it's like, but dad, listen, can I get $3? Like, huh? Where'd that come from? Yeah, take the $3. They don't even know why they gave you the $3. Timing.
That's big. That's huge. And that's interesting, because we often wait until it's the straw that broke the camel's back, and actually I think that's a lot of people's. I don't even know if it's a strategy, but their go-to. It's their go-to is to wait until they get upset and now they can say whatever they want to say and get away with it. So I'm with it, man, guys. At the end of the day, once again, if you're listening to this, it starts with you, because the information is there. At this point, like I'm gonna take this information where their brother just dropped on me. So now when I get it, because when I go back and I think about a lot of these different situations, similar situations in regards to arguments, and when we having certain conversations, it could tend to either it doesn't happen You know, so there's this whole sense of resentment and just feelings towards, because you're not necessarily allowing it to come out, but then you're not waiting until it's a lot. You know, it got to be a Hail Mary or nothing. You know what I mean? Like it got to be a Hail Mary or you're going home. It's a loss. You know, so don't wait for the Hail Mary. You got to play this game all 4 quarters. And you got and this is almost like going with the momentum, but it starts with you. But you have to, and here's something else you mentioned in that conversation, brother. A real powerful phrase, and Lord knows I learned this a little bit later on in my life, is I do not know.
Big.
I do not know, and I'm willing to find out though. Or I'm willing to figure this thing out if we can allow it, if I can get the time. If I can get the time, I'll do what it is that I need to do to figure this thing out. But at this point in time, I just don't know.
But, you know, and this is the thing, bro. This is the thing, you know, it's because like relationship building is like building muscle. It's like building muscle. Sometimes you got to go to the point of where your muscles begin to stretch before you can rebuild stronger muscles. When you say, I do not know, that's at the point of fatigue right there. That's that last rep. Most people don't use that. I don't understand. I don't know until the relationship is over. They're at failure. They're at failure. There's a commercial out there. I love the commercial. I always talk to my wife about it. I don't remember who's on the commercial, but this guy's underneath the bench press and he's just lifting. He's like, huh, boom, boom. And another guy comes over and all of a sudden goes, huh, boom. And it's sitting on his chest. And he's just like, so the guy walks around. He's like, hey, he's like, oh, no, man. Like, what do you mean? Oh, no. He wants to lift it up off of him. He's like, no, man. He's like, but man, I'm your help. He's like, you don't know my family, man. No, I'm good. So he leaves the weight on his chest because of fear of what somebody else thinks about him. And he's not willing to let go of his past. He's not willing to let go of what other people think, what other people consider. He's not willing to let go of the external thought processes of whomever, of environments, people, person, places, the words that other people are going to drop on him. He's not willing to let go of that. So he'd rather sit underneath this weight and lose life, lose breath. He's out of breath. And he'd rather subject himself to the pain of this than to accept a helping hand. And like, that's what happens in relationships. That's why we talked about coaches and mentors and, you know, and preachers and pastors and, you know, people that are there for you, or even reading certain books and listening to certain motivational things, these different things that give you cues on how to listen a little bit better and speak a little bit better and to rationalize a little bit better, a little bit quicker. Every single day we need to be building those things up. But nonetheless, most of us are sitting underneath the weight. We cannot lift this weight at this point in time in our life. It's become too heavy for us. And when somebody shows up to help us, we deny them opportunity.
Guys, don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. It's a whole new world out here, man. And it's not about the money. It's not about the things. You know, it's about how you're taking on life. It's about how you feel about the things and you being able to just enjoy it. Like we kind of put all this stuff on the things and money. Like we gotten into a very, and probably at least since we became a very materialistic society.
Yeah.
Specifically, I'm gonna talk about our demographic. We tend to put a lot of our worth in tangible, these materialistic things. Up to and believing that because a person has these things, that they're better or they're smarter or they're more experienced, and we're taking them, they're more professional because they look like they have these things. So a lot of people are being manipulated. I just heard someone, I think it was Lil Duval, the comedian, who spoke on how people were taken advantage of over the pandemic because everybody was selling courses, and they were selling you courses on how to sell courses, and they were just getting rich from selling courses. They weren't rich from the beginning. They got rich from selling courses to people because they knew what they were doing. They taking pictures on fake jets, renting out a jet, taking a jet. I never seen any of these jets take off. It might have was like 2 jets that took off. Most of the people were just sitting in these planes with these rented cars and these jets, and a lot of people just, our eyes were big, and we thought we saw something, and we ran towards that, and they were tricked into buying a course about buying a course. The same course they paid $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for, now they selling for 30, 40, 50 bucks. They were a bunch of techniques and strategies, and they were not built on any kind of foundation. You can't build anything on any foundation because the foundation starts from within yourself. Once you understand what, and your foundation are your values and essentially your core values, that's your foundation. Because once you understand your core values, a lot of these things that you're looking at, you may not necessarily even want. You may not want to be going to this place or driving this kind of car, or you have to wear these designer clothes. You know what I mean? You'll be happy in a Super Mario Brothers t-shirt. You know, you don't need that. You don't need all this stuff because you're fulfilled and joyous within. And so you can show up however you show up. And listen, I'm telling you, I can talk about it because I went through it. I can talk about this stuff because I went through it. I had to see it. Well, what's my worst based on? Oh, so if I don't have these clothes, if I'm not driving this certain kind of car, if I'm not wearing this jewelry, if I'm not presenting as such, then that makes me less than. If I can't buy this for this person or do this or do that, does that make me less than? No, you got your core values, you got your foundation. You start to you can maneuver, and then you'll be in alignment and congruence with what you want, man. So that's all I got to say about this. I think it's been a this has been a well spent time on this conversation. It's different on the other side, guys. You know, it's different, and I plan to spend as much time on the other side as possible while I'm here, because that's where I found joy, and heck, there might be something bigger than that. You know, but I'm still open to it. I'm still open, and I'm still searching, but I'm enjoying goes back to last week. I'm enjoying the process while I'm doing it. I'm not killing myself. I'm not this, because I know what it is that I'm aligned with, what I'm congruent with. So when I have these conversations, or when I'm talking to people, or when I'm doing what I do to make money, the value, you know, to make money because we still have bills to pay, I'm doing it from a place of love and understanding. I'm not getting frustrated with you. I know there's no reason for me to do it. I'm going to give you the information, like the brother. I'm going to keep going back to, like the brother said, here's the information. You do with what you want, brother. Well, you got some closing words on this? Thoughts?
No, man. I think you said it, man. That's it. Y'all come on out and see us at Barracuda Bay tomorrow, 11 o'clock a.m. sharp. Barracuda Bay. Riviera.
What are you going to be talking about tomorrow at Barracuda Bay? I know this is the culmination of the entire.
No, that's not until next month. Tomorrow is all about environment. Okay. We're actually going to talk a little bit about some of these things that you were just mentioning that we had a conversation about. So we'll get into a little deeper details in it. Alicia Curry is supposed to come up. So that'll be nice to have her present with us. And it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. Y'all come on out there. We got people coming out from different cities to be with us. So that's going to be nice. Some people from Boynton Beach, I think. Some might have some people coming from Big Cypress again. So we'll see. And of course, people from Riviera Beach and West Palm Beach.
Very nice. Need to get in on this, man. The brother's been doing this since January, February was the first one.
January.
Yeah, you've been doing this since January, dropping some real life information. Food was good. People were good. Great environment. Great speakers. I mean, it's been going on for a while now. This information is out there. Imagine when you're operating at your highest level by getting this information. It's free. It's free, right? It was.
Yes, it's free. It's free to everybody. And by the way, we also have a podcast that's going to be launching soon too, called Own Your Superhero. So that's going to be launching too. We're going to do that out in the Belle Glade, South Bay, Pahokee area. So we'll be doing that with a bunch of kids. So if y'all are listening from that area too, get with the Federation of Families. And we definitely would love to have some more young people. We got about 5 young people. If you were out there there was just a youth explosion in Belle Glade that we were there for that on last Sunday. And that was, oh man, that was awesome. I think we gave away about $7,000 to the young people, $7,000 to the young people and to the people that helped put that together. And so we have 5 of our young people that'll be on this podcast. So be on the lookout for that. That's coming up real soon.
Absolutely. Listen, school is out. Enjoy your kids. You all be safe. You all take care. And like always, man, we definitely appreciate each and every one of you for checking in. Any questions, comments, or suggestions, hit us in the DM, hit us in the comment section. We'll definitely get back with you, man. Other than that, see you when we see you.
Yeah.
Peace, guys.
All right, brother.
Yeah.